Hi, this is Nathan Smith. In Lesson 3, Objective number 8, we're to download one of these 4 pictures and color it. And so here I am in Bridge. I've downloaded all 4, but you only need to download the one of your choice and open it in Photoshop. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'll right mouse button click on it and say Open with Adobe Photoshop, and that will pull it up in Photoshop. My Photoshop is set up to open in things JPEGs in Camera Raw, and if you get this, just say open the image and you'll be in Photoshop. Now the first thing that you'll want to do once you have this open, when you have a black and white picture like this, if you want to color it, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that it is in a coloring mode. And so if you come up to the image menu and mode, it should be RGB color or one of these others, but not index color or grayscale. So if it's grayscale or index color, I would suggest switching it to RGB color. You can zoom in on this photo by pressing Command 0 on a Macintosh or Control 0 on a PC, and that will make the image fill the window. So to review, we have learned how to use the Quick Select tool, and we've learned about the Magic Wand tool, and we've also learned about Quick Mask. All right. What we're going to add to that knowledge is we're going to show you how to create new layers and to use a thing called a blending mode and opacity. And with the combination of those, then we can do some pretty amazing things. You should be seeing a layers palette over here to your right. If you don't, please go to the window menu and make sure that layers is checked. There's my layers. If I come down here to the very bottom, if you hover over these icons in the layers palette, you'll get a tooltip that pops up that says delete layer, create a new layer, create a new group, etc. We're going to create a new layer here by just clicking on it, and that adds a layer. So think of it as like a piece of clear acetate that's being overlaid on top of this picture underneath. So if I grab my paintbrush, for example, using my bracket keys, I can make it bigger and smaller. And if I paint, you'll notice over here that that paint is on this layer, but not on the one underneath. In fact, if I click on the eyeball in front of the layer and turn off that layer temporarily, you'll see that nothing has changed on the background. A blending mode allows this layer to be blended with the other one, with the one underneath or the ones underneath, in various different ways. And as you hover over each one, you can kind of see what each one does. The blending modes are divided into groups, normal being no blending is happening. These darken. It combines the two layers, and the result is a darker image for the most part. This next group actually is the lighten group. They turn things lighter. Overlay increases the contrast. Difference does some pretty strange stuff. Hue, saturation, color, luminance, they all do different kinds of things. We're going to use a blending mode in this exercise called color. And so if you'll switch that layer to color, then you see that we get the background showing through, but it's actually coloring the image itself. Okay, let's get down to business then. I am going to take this layer that I've been fooling around with and delete it. And you do that by dragging it down to the trash can icon in the layers palette and just dropping it there. And now I'm going to create a new layer and make sure that its blending mode is set to color. That's really important. All right. The next thing I want to do, I'll be using Quick Mask. I'll be using my Quick Selection tool. Those are two of my favorite tools. So the first thing that I do is I double click on the Quick Mask tool, and I make sure that instead of masked areas, that selected areas is ticked. And I can choose a color if I wish to, but I also make sure that the opacity is about 50%, somewhere in there, 50–60%. And I'll click OK, and then be sure and turn Quick Mask back off. Now I'll go into my Quick Select tool. The shortcut key is W, and you can make this tool, it acts like a brush. You can make the brush bigger or smaller. I find that it's really important to have sample all layers checked, otherwise it won't sample this layer underneath. And auto enhance always is a good option to have turned on. I find that using a smaller brush works better with this tool, and so I will keep within the skin and not worry if it goes out right now. You'll notice that it's a little rough edged on the selection, but if I let go, that auto enhance smooths it out. Now if I press my Quick Mask, you can see that it wasn't perfect, and that's where I can either use my Quick Mask tool to help do a better job, or I can use my Quick Select tool. If I'm just using my Quick Select tool, what you do is you hold down the Option or Alt key and you go over the areas where Photoshop made a mistake, and that will subtract those out. And so the Quick Select tool kind of learns as you go. If you missed an area, you can kind of push it in like so. All right. So that arm is selected. Now I'm going to go select the other arm. And again, we had a little bit of a problem. Let me show you this time how to use the Quick Mask in conjunction with that. So with my Quick Mask tool, if I get my paintbrush and I paint with white, that will subtract from the Quick Mask. If I paint with black, that will add. So I can come down here, I can make my brush hard so I have a nice smooth edge there, and I can come in and fix that. And then if I switch over to white, then I can carefully erase. And it's the X key that lets you just switch back and forth between the two of them there. So white will remove and black will let you add to your selection there. So I'll switch back over to black and just get this area. And that's how you do that. Now I'm going to pause for just a minute and finish the face. Okay, now that that's done, I need to make this a marching ants selection. So I'll click on the Quick Mask tool to get out of that. And now I can get my paintbrush and pick a skin color. So I'll click on this color swatch and let's get kind of a skin color like that. And I can make my brush just really big and just paint. And it will only paint in the selected areas like that. Then I can go up, once I've done that, I can go up into the select menu and deselect. Now if the skin color is too strong, we can come here on the opacity. If you put your cursor right on the hand right on the word opacity, you can click and drag to the left or to the right and get just the perfect skin color that you want. Now, if you want, you can get your brush tool and pick, say, maybe just a slightly more reddish, pinkish color, and on that same layer, you can come in and do the lips like so, or you can create a whole new layer and switch its mode to color, and then you can have that on a different layer. So I'm going to undo that and show you that. So I'll click a new layer and I'll switch it to color mode, and then I can paint on that and then adjust its opacity separate from the skin color. And that's the real advantage of layers there, is that you can do that. So one of the things that you want to do as you move along here, I've gone ahead and I've done the skin, the lips, the shirt, the hat, the background, all on different layers. But you want to label your layers just by double clicking on the word layer 1, layer 2, and renaming it whatever you want. That way it makes it easy if you want to go back and edit anything. Also, I find on skin, if you just add just a touch of other color, like maybe a bluish color in the shadows, or a little more pinkish on the cheeks and the nose and various places where your skin would turn pinker, makes it look a little bit more realistic. Anyway, that's the process of coloring a black and white photo. Hope you enjoy. What you want to do is come up to File and hit Save As. Once that comes up, you'll want to save this as a Photoshop file to submit it as your assignment. And so you would name this B03-08 and your name .psd and click Save. You'll get this warning and just click OK, and that will be saved for you.